33. Okay. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 23rd chapter, text number 33. Tam vai pravaya sambhikshum abadhutam asajjana drishtva paryabhavan bhatra bhagvibhi paribhutibhi. Tam him vai indeed pravayasam, old, bhikshum, the beggar, avadhutam, unclean, asat, low class, jana, persons, drishtva, seeing, paryabhavam, dishonored, bhadra, O kind Uddhava, bhakvibhi, with many, paribhutibhi, insolence. Translation: O kind Uddhava, seeing him as an old, dirty beggar, persons would dishonor him with many insults. Next verse, 34. Some of these persons would take away his sannyasi rod, and some the water pot which he was using as a begging bowl. Some took his deerskin seed, some his chanting beads, and some would steal his torn, ragged clothing. Displaying these things before him, they would pretend to offer them back, but would then hide them again. Interesting. Oh, they were having fun in this way. 35. When he was sitting on the bank of a river, about to partake of the food that he had collected by his begging, such sinful rascals would come and pass urine on it, and they would dare to spit on his head. Next verse, 36. Although he had taken a vow of silence, they would try to make him speak, and if he did not speak, they would beat him with sticks. Others would chastise him, saying, "This man is just a thief," and others would bind him with the rope, shouting, "Tie him up, tie him up." They would criticize and insult him, saying, "This man is just a hypocrite and a cheat. He makes a business of religion simply because he lost all his wealth and his family threw him out." Next verse. Some would ridicule him by saying, "Just see this greatly powerful sage. He is as steadfast as the Himalaya mountains. By practice of silence, he strives for his goal with great determination, just like a hero." Other persons would pass foul air upon him, and sometimes others would bind his twice-born Brahmana, in chains and keep him captive like a pet animal. Wow. 40. The Brahmana understood that all his suffering from the other living beings, from the higher forces of nature, and from his own body was unavoidable, being allotted to him by providence. Many cruel persons harassed the Brahmana, and his own body caused him suffering in the form of fever, hunger, thirst, fatigue, etc. The higher forces of nature are those that cause excessive heat, cold, wind, and rain. The Brahmana realized that his suffering was due to his false identification with his material body, and not to the interaction of his body with external phenomena. Rather than try to adjust his external situation, he tried to adjust his Krishna consciousness, and thus realize his actual identity as eternal spiritual soul. Would you comment something, Maharaj?
No, it's already commented. Not much more to say, unless someone has a question or something, or another comment.
We were wondering, Maharaj, in what yuga people would do these things, because that's quite extreme treatment. Sannyasi, tie him with chains.
It happened in India, no?
Yes, yeah, it seems. Avanti, there was even one of the acharyas mentioned, where is that exactly, Avanti? I forgot.
Yeah, it's
India.
Avanti Purus in India. India is a land of extremes. You have in India, Bharatvarsha, you have extremely pious people, and you have extremely sinful people. Even nowadays, we experience the extremes in India. Some people are very cultured, people are very nice.
Yeah.
But also very, very uncultured, they are not very nice. Very rude.
Very rude. Unpolite.
And all the time trying to cheat you.
Yes.
So we can imagine, and of course it sounds really like an extreme, but who knows? Especially if he was known as a
miser.
And so in this way, I think they try to take revenge on him, and that we have seen in not only India but in so many countries. We have seen that people are easily carried away by emotions.
Yeah.
And the emotions are very high. Emotions in a sense of anger, retaliation, they can really get carried away. Maybe not individually so much, but
like in a mob.
In a mob and group, they go to extremes.
Wow.
So unfortunately, that happened to him. And he begins to understand, as described here. He begins to understand that it's just the reactions to his past activities, and he is taking it as a stepping stone facility to work on his Krishna consciousness, to understand, all these things are happening to my body, but not really to the soul. And then he begins to take more and more shelter in the actual qualities of the soul, not in the qualities of the body or mind or material intelligence, false ego, but rather in the soul. And what are the qualities of the soul? Sat Chit Ananda, Ananda, always full of bliss. So that, anyway, that's been described here. Similarly, we should also take lesson from this story, particularly this story and other stories, that whatever might happen to us in an unfavorable way, we just take it in a similar way. We just work on our Krishna consciousness, become more conscious of Krishna. Like these demons in Vrindavan, when they entered the Keshi and so many of these demons, when they entered Vrindavan, then it is described the gopis, they were naturally afraid, but they instantly took shelter of Krishna. I mean, they always take shelter of Krishna, but it is just another opportunity to take shelter in Krishna, according to the situation, even more intensively. So for a devotee, in that sense, there's not really a disadvantage. Because whatever happens to him, he surrenders more to Krishna. This is why at one point, Krishna's illusory energy, Maya, becomes discouraged. Because whatever she tries to do with the devotee, he just surrenders more to Krishna. And then what's the use?
Discouraged.
Maya's duty is to test the devotee.
Mm.
Are you really that surrendered as you think? So give me some test. Let me give the devotee some test and see. Not because Krishna doesn't understand or Krishna's illusory energy doesn't understand, they know, but simply for the sake of the devotee, that he understands on what level he is. Not that Krishna doesn't know, and therefore I have to give tests to see. Krishna knows everything. But the devotee doesn't know often. And that's the purpose of tests. That the devotee clearly understands, oh, that's my level of Krishna consciousness, so I have to work more on it. Become more Krishna conscious, more surrendered to Krishna. Test, that's another very broad topic. Test, what does it mean? Krishna's testing. Oh, Maya, we hear Maya's testing. It's an interesting topic. Because there's so many, thoughts and considerations related to it. I believe you also discussed it, no?
Yeah.
Test, what does it really mean, test? Yeah. Even if it's not a test given by Krishna or by Maya, the devotee takes it as a test. That's good. In the sense of, let me understand, analyze the depth of my Krishna consciousness. Because tendency of the mind is always to expand. Like the thoughts of the past, the mind immediately expands. If something was pleasurable in the past, the mind expands immediately. Oh, it's so pleasurable. It doesn't want to see anything else. And some miserable experiences in the past, the mind wants to expand like anything. It's so painful. And similarly with Krishna consciousness, the mind immediately expands. I'm so Krishna conscious. Always expanding is the nature of the mind. It expands. I'm so intelligent. I'm so humble. Always expanding. And then the duty of material nature or Lord Krishna's agents is to bring the devotee back to reality. Bring him down to earth.
Shrink the mind.
Yeah. And the devotee takes it in this way. Yeah. He takes it as a test. Whatever happens to him it is testing my Krishna consciousness, nothing else. There's no other purpose for the devotee except Krishna consciousness. So whatever happens to him, then he relates it to his Krishna consciousness immediately. Takes shelter in Krishna. Krishna consciousness means to be conscious of Krishna. So, this is good. Whatever happens, if the devotee takes it this way, I have to analyze my Krishna consciousness, understand better my Krishna consciousness, take more shelter in Krishna, then everything's fine. Positive, negative, doesn't matter what. It just makes him more Krishna conscious. If something positive happens, then he remembers Krishna. It's Krishna's mercy, Krishna's grace. So he remembers Krishna. And in that sense, even if of course we should never curse Krishna, but if it happens, the tendency is also there. Why does Krishna? At least the devotee remembers Krishna.
Yes.
In that sense, also not bad.
Yeah.
But he has to purify that. We should never blame Krishna. We only blame ourselves. Yeah. And also not blame others. as we see in his
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 reaction.
Avanti Brahman's attitude. He's not blaming. These are all tools in the hands of destiny. Destiny means karma. All tools in the hands of destiny. Like yesterday, I was walking there. And then I saw the dog in a far distance. The dog. I picked up a rock and walking with the rock. But then he went some other direction. So I thought, Jai. And then I just continued walking. And then all of a sudden, something I noticed in my hand.
Something soft.
The dog was right there. I thought, what? I thought, destiny. But fortunately, the dog was peaceful. But then I was thinking, if the dog would not be peaceful, if the dog would bite me, attack me, then what would I do? And then I thought, then I would take it as destiny. Something is trying to teach me a lesson. What is the lesson? That I just want to enjoy. I want to walk in nature to enjoy all, see such a nice, beautiful nature. It is so nice. See the sun is rising and everything, just enjoying. And that reminds me, you're not the enjoyer. Therefore, the dog attacks you, just to remind you, you're not the enjoyer. You're simply suffering in this material existence. Dukkhalayama shashvatam. This is how Krishna defines the entire material nature. He doesn't give some other words like dukkha, but also sukha. Just dukkha. Dukkha is suffering, that's it. So from Krishna's perspective, the entire material creation is suffering. But he makes it as pleasurable as possible for the conditioned soul, but overall it is just suffering. Yeah, yesterday I showed you, I had that, we thought about this, what was it again? Why is the death, this principle of birth and death, why did Krishna create it? I thought. And then I read this purport by Srila Prabhupada where he explains, what was it again? He explains that
the more we forget.
Yeah, the more we forget Krishna, the more we are dying.
We're dying.
More we are actually dying. And I thought, that's interesting. Krishna's arrangement, I thought. Because then you can take it this way, that material nature, Maya, wants to illustrate to the conditioned soul, all your activities, because they're not Krishna conscious, you're just dying.
Yeah.
You're dying away, and because the soul doesn't die, it has to be illustrated in a different way by creating an illusory body which dies. And then the conditioned soul should learn from that. All my activities I perform throughout my life, it is simply resulting in death. All these non-Krishna conscious activities means I'm dying. Like the other verse, with every sunrise and sunset, one day is wasted. Similarly, the whole life is wasted. And to illustrate that to the conditioned soul, it is arranged like that. Like literally, you're dying. And then birth, why birth? Because soul is eternal, there has to be birth. So birth is necessary. And the death is an illustration that the lack of Krishna consciousness simply means dying. Useless. Useless, zero, that means death. Yeah, very interesting. What else we have? Anything else we have? Anything else?
I was thinking, Maharaj, usually it's said that we get some realization of this reality. We learn this lesson by some mercy, by association. But we hear that the Brahmana here, he came to this conclusion himself somehow. It seems like something special. He just
there's no association and Paramatma is there. Chaita Guru. If there's no external guru, what's the name? Chaita Guru.
Chaita.
What's the opposite? External.
Bahiranga or outside. Yeah.
I also don't know.
Yeah.
If there's no external guru available, then internal guru, Paramatma, Chaita Guru helps. It's not that because there's no guru, external guru available, then the soul has no chance, no opportunity to become Krishna conscious. So Krishna will arrange. If there's no guru, then I help you from inside. I will give you realization. Because one should not, misinterpret. If the guru is available, thinking that, I don't need one because Krishna will help. So in his particular case, obviously there was no guru available. But he knew the Vedic system.
Yeah.
That, now giving up one's attachment to home, everything, then, I must take sannyas, that he knew. He was from the Brahminical order of life, so Brahmana is supposed to take sannyas. The Kshatriyas, they don't take sannyas. They just perform the Mahaprasthan. They walk into the Himalayan mountains till they die. It's their sannyas. So he knew that principle. And then Krishna was helping from within, giving him realization, like a shining lamp of knowledge Krishna can provide if he wants. Krishna provides the guru, but Krishna, he is Swarat, he is independent. It's not that Krishna depends on the guru. He makes the guru available, but he does not in that sense depend. If he wants to directly give knowledge, he can do so. But Krishna created that system of one can only surrender to him through spiritual master. He created a system. But because he's the creator, he can also, if he wants, he can violate it. He created it. If he wants. Yeah, that's from my side. Anything else?
Any points?
Mai се питали много често ескимосите как ще имат гуру и как ще прочитат Бхагавад-гита. Що не за всички.
I've been asked many times, she says, devotees ask me. I've been asked. Others, outside people, they ask me, if it's for everyone, this knowledge, how will Eskimos get guru and understand, read Bhagavad Gita? How will they understand Krishna? Because Eskimos,
What's wrong with the Eskimos?
They don't have access, I guess. That's the point. They don't have access to Guru or Bhagavad Gita.
No, they're preaching that. Some devotees go there. Not directly to their igloos, but they also come to the city. To the most northern part of it. They sometimes come down, and so they go there. They do book distribution. We don't know how many Bhagavad Gitas in these igloos are there. We don't know. Krishna will arrange, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will arrange. The only problem I thought would be if in the igloos, if they cook halwa, the whole meal will melt down. And of course, they're very attached, to certain eatables.
Yeah.
So it will be a challenge. But some Eskimos they already met. Those little more, closer to civilization. They come down, but you see them. And so they distribute books to them. That goes on. Of course, we could do so much more. That's the fact. Do some Ramhatha programs in the igloos. It would be really interesting. It ignites my pioneer spirit. I would like to go. I went already to one of the most northern parts in Sweden in the past. Also Finland, we went. Very, very high. You could see some Eskimos. Yeah, we could do so much more. It's very important that we maintain that pioneer preaching spirit, not just pass resolutions after resolutions. Srila Prabhupada always gave managerial positions to foremost to the preachers, because then the whole intelligence, sense of discrimination works in a different way. We have that preaching spirit. If you don't have that spirit, your whole management structure, whatever you arrange, it works in a little different way. More related to our, which is also necessary, to our own security and comfort. We have to, take risks for Krishna. Yeah, that we should definitely do more in that respect. How to preach, spread Krishna consciousness, especially. There's so many points. Especially related to how many people we meet on the street. Most of the people nowadays, they just drive in the morning in their car to their working place.
Yeah.
And then in the evening they drive back. We never meet them.
Yes.
And how many newspaper articles we have that people can read. How many, how many public programs we have nowadays? Rare. And then anyway, how many people come to these programs related to the population of Bulgaria? How many we just a tiny percentage we actually meet on the street by book distribution. So we should think, how can we, not only Eskimos, but even in our country, we don't reach so many people. We never reach them. How can they become Krishna conscious? Like I was shocked, when I was flying. I'm talking too much, I think.
Yeah. No, Maharaj, please.
When I was flying to New York once, I flew to New York in Lodi, and then I left side from my seat there was one businessman, and the right side a businesswoman. Later on, I found out. So at one point, I was sitting. Americans are they're very open, straightforward. So after just a few minutes, they asked me from both sides, like simultaneously almost. And what are you wearing this clothes? And I asked them, you don't know? Hare Krishna, you don't know? No. They were living both in New York, and they never heard about Krishna consciousness. Wow. So we have the tendency to think we are so prominent. Why do we think like this? Because we make so many photographs of our own selves all the time. We make recordings, we make videos. of our own selves and our own activities. Our Harinam, 1.5 hour video Harinam we watch, and so we think we are so prominent in society, but actually we are not. Many people don't even know us. It's a fact. They don't even know us. So there's so much work, preaching work to be done. Outreach programs, we call it nowadays. Some devotees don't like this word preaching anymore. It's too heavy, they think. Outreach programs, whatever word you might choose. The meaning is the same. We have to reach out, we have to contact people. And there's so much service has to be done. How to reach people, how to contact them. And that's not all, to contact them, how to attract them to Krishna consciousness, how to make Krishna consciousness more attractive. That's one reason why personally I'm always so much concerned what goes on in our programs in the temple. I think in terms of people visiting us.
Mm-hmm.
What do they think? This is why sometimes in the recent years I'm trying to demonstrate, let us not do things for our own selves, our devotional internal activities. These temples are meant for preaching. They invite people to come. Otherwise we can go to the forest. Why we have temples in the cities? We want to attract people. And you might have noticed also now, the ghee lamp. I was asking myself, why do we give the ghee lamp? There's male, what do you call it? A male devotee, male devotee, and then he gives the ghee lamp to the female devotee, like this. And then why? What's the explanation? Somebody told me that, well, it's too intimate, to give the ghee lamp. It's too intimate. And what intimate? And giving the ghee lamp to a Mataji, giving the ghee lamp is not intimate. He touches it.
Yeah.
This is not. It doesn't make any sense. Why? And any answer? Why we give the ghee lamp to the ladies?
Well, no, there's no logic in that.
What's the reason? Maybe with the flower I could understand, that's a little intimate, to the nose. That I could accept it. But why the ghee lamp? Give it away. And then same thing with the circumambulating tulsi. Why the ladies are stepping back and waiting, again, too intimate, and then when the male devotees they stop and then the ladies come, and then everybody, the brahmachari is looking out. They don't want to be too intimate looking at it. I thought it doesn't make any sense, all this, what we introduce for the outsiders especially. It doesn't make any sense. How will you explain that? If an outsider visits our program, why the ladies are not circumambulating? What will we reply? It's too intimate.
What?
Then we have to, put a wall between. Because we are looking all the time. We cannot avoid looking at the Madhajis. You cannot avoid. I don't understand this what we introduce. Maybe bigger crowds I could understand. If we have a lot of Madhajis, and then, but then usually they have their own tulsi, their own version.
Two ghee lamps.
Yeah, but if we only have one, and then to do the separation, it's so artificial and really difficult to understand for outsiders. Or like when an outsider is visiting the morning program, in many temples the ladies stand all the way back doing Mangala Arati.
Yeah.
How will you explain that? Why your ladies are standing in the back? What will be the answer?
That's their place.
Huh?
That's their place at the back.
They're afraid.
They should be at the back and looking down.
It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. You cannot explain it. And this is perhaps, if we introduce too many of these things, then this will shy away outsiders more and more.
Yeah, I think also, Maharaj, we don't think what people would ask themselves. We think, well, that's how we do it here, and they have to learn. But people, when they come, they ask, why would some people at the back?
They're wondering. They ask questions about why you do this, why you do that. We have to have an answer for that. Why the ladies stand in the back? I don't even know what to answer. They should be shy. I don't understand. Shy to see Krishna. They should be eager. Like even in India, you can see, in the temples, the ladies, they're the first ones in front.
Yeah.
You saw this?
Yes.
No?
Yeah.
They're fighting very hard.
Even in India. So why are we in the Western country? Why we introduce this? All the ladies should be more in the back. I don't understand. Like Srila Prabhupada mentioned, if the brahmacharis are so agitated, then they should go to the forest. So that, this is why I try to push a little bit the point, be circumambulated and not so many Malajis and devotees at all. Just let's go together. What's a big deal? Then at least I don't have to look at, for 3 rounds. I have to look at or I don't know where to look at. See, again, it doesn't make any sense. And what else? There's so many new things. I think you know better than, no, you must have a lot of thoughts what goes on in our society related to discriminating between male and female.
The ladies don't give a lecture. Ladies don't give a lecture in Bulgaria.
Yeah, they don't give lectures. How will you explain this to outsiders? Of course, we are not the feminists either.
Yes.
But Srila Prabhupada noticed immediately in the Western countries things are different. He noticed that right away. This is why he allowed brahmacharinis, they can join the temple. It's just a common practice. He noticed that. So similarly, it is a common practice that the ladies give, they lecture, they make presentations in Western countries. Nowadays, I noticed watching these news about the crisis in Ukraine. If you watch these news, it's all ladies. Did you notice that? These news reporters, 90% I have seen, they're all ladies. So we cannot just ignore it and then try to push, our Vedic principles, which worked in India, some ages ago. We cannot just push it. People will not understand and will not accept. I think Srila Prabhupada mentioned if there's a good male speaker available, then we should prefer that. I think he said it. But at least, sometimes I should have the opportunity to give classes, make presentations, explain things. It's just common sense in the Western countries. Anything else related to ladies? The ladies, they have the same equal spiritual rights to practice Krishna consciousness. Same.
Maharaj, what does it take that, like you said, I always think how will people, what would they think? Put yourself in their shoes. I also, wherever we do, I'm thinking, what will they try to understand and make sense, especially of such things which you can't explain.
Sure.
But it's not very common that we think like that. We just we do our things, and
the
that's
preacher thinks like this.
it.
The preacher always thinks like this. But those who don't have a preaching spirit, they don't think about it. That's not their concern. So since Srila Prabhupada, he was the topmost preacher, he noticed that. So let the ladies also join, because in these Western countries, they do everything together. He noticed that. So let them also practice Krishna consciousness together. Yeah. So like this, we should make it, and my point is we should make it attractive, Krishna consciousness attractive to people, that they feel comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable. They can relate to it.
Yeah, they can relate to, they understand. Of course, many things they cannot understand at the beginning. But we should not make it too difficult. They cannot understand anything. Should not make it. That's why I'm also not much in favor of making the morning program too complex. Another reading, another mantra, another. Again, for outsiders, it's too overwhelming. It's too difficult for them. They visit only once and maybe in 1 year I will visit again. For them, it's an overdose. If it's Mangal Arti, then the Tulsi, and then finish. And then they can sit comfortably and also try to chant japa. If we have too many things going on, it's too much for them. Maybe inspiring for us, we feel inspired, but not, they don't feel inspired. Too many things going on. They cannot follow. They will feel uncomfortable. Yeah, that's for you people. Not for me. So that's my constant thought, meditation. How can we make Krishna consciousness more attractive, more available to people in general, to the masses of people? Because these temples are meant for preaching. Yeah.
Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Hare Krishna, Shri Shri Gonitai ki jai, Jagannath Subhadra Baladeva ki jai.